Hey, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It's your boy LS3 with Medicine Ball. Welcome to the family. Got a lot we're gonna get into today, but first, let that beat drop. Hey, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Medicine Ball with LS3 to be exact. And if you ain't in shape, then your brain should be. Welcome to my platform, man. First, I'd like to thank anybody who's listening today. You could have been anywhere in the world today, and you chose to be here with me. And y'all already know I don't take that lightly, man. Medicine Ball, where we talk about mental health, mental illness, mental strength, and anything concerning it, man. Whether you want to talk about your depression, whether you want to talk about your anxiety, whether you're somebody who's dealing with things and think nobody hears you, we here for that, man. I want to make it clear I'm not a doctor. These are just, my ideas, my topics based on me living for 15 years as diagnosed with bipolar disorder 1. But this is an open forum, man. And today we're going to talk about something big, man. Something I see every day. The big D, man. The big D. We talking about depression today. Who it affects? What is it? What can you do about it? How can you identify it? And much, much more. So tighten in, man. Whether you're somebody who's suffering from a mental health illness or someone who has no mental health illness but just needs a little pick me up from day to day to deal with this thing we call life. So without any further wait, the big D. Let's get it popping. The big D, depression, man. We're going to talk about it today. So, the dictionary defines depression loosely as a mood or disorder that causes persistent feelings of sadness, loss of interest, feeling down, feeling useless, feeling hopeless, feeling just overall that things are not okay and they may get worse. Depression, man. So, I will use the hopefordepression.org to get my stats for today. And it says 18 million adults suffer from depression. It is the leading cause of a mental health or disability in general from ages 15 to 44. Think about how many people that touches, man. Ages 15 and 40 to 44. It is the primary reason for suicide, which is one person every 15 minutes. And again, this is coming from hopefromdepression.org. 41,000 people a year. And in my case, just to give you an idea, bipolar, it says it's affects about 2.6 million people, 2.6% of the population in the United States, which is about 6.3 million people. So this is something that's wide ranging, man. It touches everybody. It touches everybody. And let me expound upon that. When I say it touches everybody, I'm not saying that everybody's depressed. I'm saying you definitely know somebody who's depressed or going through depression. Whether you know they're dealing with it or not, chances are on your day to day activities, you're coming across or dealing with somebody, whether it be a family member, a friend, somebody you know on social media who's dealing with this, man. And we talk about it, but it's not heard. So, my goal today is to speak on it more and bring more of an awareness to it because it is something that is very prevalent. And me personally, being somebody who's dealing with bipolar disorder 1, I believe that studying and being more aware and making more noise when it comes to depression is the gateway into opening up the topics of discussion about other mental health diseases, whether it be bipolar, schizophrenia, you know, something of that nature, man. I feel like depression kind of opens the door. It's almost like the gateway to us opening up and being open about talking about mental health, man, because I feel like depression is something that is more accepted. It's something that's more felt. It's something that affects more people. If you look at it, man, and I can say this because I do have people in my family, immediate family, who have cancer. Depression might affect as many people in the United States because, that's where we're at. It might affect as many people as cancer may. Think about it, man. So what is it, man? What causes depression, man? And I'm getting these facts again from hopefordepression.org. Um, it's something that can be caused very heavily, and in my situation, I believe that it brought on a lot of my things that I deal with, whether it be anxiety or spouts of depression or my bipolar, man. It's genetics. It's biochemistry. A lot of things that have to do with mental illnesses. It's straight science. That's what I tell people, man. It's something going on with the chemistry, biochemistry, and it's something that's genetic. So if your mother or your grandmother, your aunt or your brother, your father, your sister suffer from depression, diagnosed depression, to whether maybe they needed medication, the chance is pretty high that you know you could suffer from it as well, whether you know it or not. Now, there's other things that go into depression, personality, and that's unique. I found that very unique when I came across that, because it's like, even though I deal with my mental health illness, I find out that your personality and the character can really go a long way in helping you to treat symptoms and controlling your symptoms. But environment is also another one. So environment can have an effect on it, and we're talking about just depression, but I can personally speak to and say that environment also has an effect of any other mental health illness that you may have going on or may develop. What causes it, man? What can kick off depression? Now, here's the thing about depression, man. Everybody gets these feelings of being sad, of being down, of things not working out, and things not, and that's life. Life's not perfect. The difference comes in with the amount of time you stay in that pit. So, based on the information here, I got, and again, that's hopefordepression.org, is that what would be considered, severe depression or some depression that might be diagnosed medically is if it lasts for about of at least 2 weeks or more. 2 weeks or more. And me personally, as somebody dealing with bipolar and depression do kind of go hand in hand, as we spoke about previously. You get these manic feelings of extreme highs, but you can also get those depressive feelings, which are lows. And a depression, in the definition, if you were talking about maybe the structure or something, it's like a dent, an indention, a downward indention. It's always something that's down. So even if you want to talk about it in the land, like there's a depression in this field of flowers, it's going to be a little indention, a down spot, a down point. But yeah, back to what I was saying. When it comes to bipolar, man, oh man, I've had depression stints that have lasted for months, even half a year. In my worst, when I've been at my worst, and yeah, man, it could be very heavy. It can be very heavy. So let me tell you some of the things you want to look for, when it comes to depression. And this is also helpful in identifying what's going on with your friends, man. I mean, it really hurts me, and I'm glad that I have a platform to be able to speak to it. But like, when I'm on social media, like, I don't know what it is when people say stuff that is cryptic, or I'm depressed, and it really hits to me. But just, and as my podcast goes on, and as my podcast goes on and more people are made aware of kind of what I'm talking about and what I got going on, people are more receptive with me speaking to them, because I don't really know these people. We have maybe some mutual friends or something like that, but regardless, we're just in a society where, somebody could cry out for help, but then those same people that cry out for help will bite your head off for trying to help. So it's a touchy subject, which is why I have opened up the web page, our Facebook group and whatnot, for people to kind of, inbox me. I get people who inbox me, man, and that's why I take this whole platform very seriously, man. But it's just like, I want to reach out to these people, and it's like I just don't know how they react. And I'm still growing, and I'm still working on myself as well. So if you were to say something that I saw as a sign of depression, and I were to say something like, "Hey, and I'm working on this," but say something like, "Hey, it sounds like you may have something going on. Maybe you should take a listen to some of the things that we're talking about on the podcast, or, here's some info I can give you." And someone were to say, F you, or, it's none of your business, or da 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 da, even though technically, you said it on Facebook, it's everybody's business. But anyway, I don't know how I would handle that right now. To be completely honest, it would depend on how I'm feeling that day and whatnot, man. And I have actually tried that in a few situations, and I try to be strategic about it and not put people out there. But it's like, dude, you just posted on Facebook, you got 5,000 friends, that you feel like killing yourself. I was just, reaching out. You know what I mean? But that's why I want to do this, man. I want to open up the awareness. So things that you could kind of look for is people who have lost of interest. fatigue, sleep issues, anxiety, irritability, or sounding hopeless. These are the things that I pay attention to because, you know, I have these things in my family. I have a few people, quite a few people in my family and immediate family who are diagnosed with some type of anxiety or depression or known as a manic depressant. So, it's something that can affect everyone and things, something that I'm just kind of in tune to and kind of look out for. Um, 18 million adults, man, they say suffer. That is not to be taken lightly. And that's probably people who are willing to say, hey, I am depressed and I'm going through depression. We're not even talking about the people who may not even know. But it is real. And I just wanted to start this off by just giving you guys some general information about it. Again, shout out to hopefordepression.org. That's a good website to check out, whether you're a person who's, if you don't want to take my word for it or you just want to get some information, man. That's what we're going to talk about in the next seg, man. Once you're able to identify it and now that you're kind of understanding, the next thing to do is to take action. Do something about it. Do not just sit there. You will and can sit into this depression for weeks upon weeks, and weeks can become months. And you don't want to sit in a year of depression, but it can happen. But I digress, man. We're going to get it popping, man. We're going to talk about what you should do next, man. Doing something about it and actively exercising your brain and moving forward, man. Medicine Ball with your boy LS3, man. We working on giving your brain a six pack. If you ain't in shape, then your brain should be. Check this beat. We're going to get back to it. We're going to talk about, okay, now you know what depression is. If you think you got something going on with depression, what to do about it. LS3, Medicine Ball. Be right back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Hey, Medicine Ball with your boy LS3, man. We focusing on giving your brain a six pack. We focusing on mental health, mental life, and all the good things in between, man. So today's episode, the Big D, we talking about depression. In that first seg, I gave you guys some tidbits, some numbers, some facts, things of that nature. 18 million adults suffer, man. And I was just thinking about it, like, what do they count as an adult? You know what I mean? The numbers are astounding, man. So now that you know something about depression, this is to all those people who I see, on social media, man. I try to limit my time on social media, but the people who I can't really reach out to, man, it's time to do something about it, man. And that's what we're going to talk about on this seg. It's time to do something. Let's make a move, man. Now, the first thing is to pay attention, man. I preach in pretty much all my podcasts awareness, situational awareness, emotional awareness, mental awareness. You got to know what's going on. And the reason why I preach awareness and being aware that something is going on is because in this life, you know, and we'll keep it simple, but there are spiritual cues, there are life cues, energy cues around you, and there's also body cues to something needs to change. Something has to happen. Your body is working, your world is working proper. If you're uncomfortable, I mean, man, if you sit on the seat and there's a Lego in the seat, man, sooner or later you're going to get up and move that Lego. That's what's going on with your body. Your body is sitting you on a Lego in hopes that that will cause some action because you're uncomfortable, will cause some action. So you got to be aware of it, man. Now, listen, here's the thing that's really big, and I want to get straight into medical profession. I know, and a majority of it is in my community. When I say that, I mean black people. All right, let's put it out there. We not too keen on really going to the doctor in a lot of households and a lot of cultures, especially on our darker side. We're not too keen on going to the doctor in the first place, man. I talk to my friends. I have friends who are from the islands and their families from the islands, and some of the stuff that they will tell you to do if you have a toothache or something like that is just like, it's kind of like, man, go to the doctor. Listen, I know that it can take a lot of courage, a lot of strength, and it takes a level of awareness to be able to go to the doctor and say, hey, I may have a problem. Everyone doesn't necessarily need to go, in my experience. Okay, I'm not a doctor, I'm speaking on my life experiences dealing with a mental health illness and just in my life experiences in general. Everybody doesn't need to go to the doctor for spouts of depression, because to be honest with you, I strongly feel like if you go to a doctor and you get some type of medication, then a lot of it is biochemistry if you're feeling depression or your hormones or something, but a lot of it is your body system. I truly feel like cueing you to make some changes in your life. So it's a slippery slope and it's a thin line when you go to a medical professional, because and I speak to this with my medicines, man. Some of those medicines will make you a zombie and they will deaden a part of your energy that may be good. So if it's just overwhelming, some people may need to go to a medical professional. A big part of being diagnosed with something that's mental health or mental illness oriented is the ability to speak with somebody. I know for me, that alone was therapeutic in itself. Being able to speak with somebody I know who wasn't judging me and who was getting paid to do it, even if they didn't care. My dude was dope. He made me feel like he cared. But you have to be open to exploring something. The thing you don't want to do is to wait it out. You will wait it out for months and years sometimes and not even know that you're still in a depressive state because you'll get used to it. So, when it comes to medical profession, it depends on how aware you are about yourself. Your personality has a lot to do with it. If you're somebody who's taboo or feels like somebody's going to judge you or that is something wrong with you or you're less of a person because you may need to seek medical attention, you need to kind of factor that in. But we will discuss that more, man, because at some point you got to make a change. This is not something that if you just wait it out, it will heal. No, you got to make some type of change, and that's what your body's hoping you would do. I always preach meditation, and I have so many friends that don't meditate. They have these issues, and they're just like, I can't do it. I can't sit down and think and slow my thoughts and whatnot. And I'm like, all of these things are issues that you got to kind of face. So if you're not willing to meditate, that's fine. If you're a person who just thinks you cannot meditate, that's fine. I'm going to teach you how to meditate without even knowing you're meditating. Me, I'm big on listening to music without lyrics. And why without the lyrics? Because it gives you a chance to listen to the music and get lost in something other than your day. So, I'm a guy who, I do beats, I do deal with the hip hop. But me personally, when I listen to my music, I listen to classical music. If my music is going to have some words in it, it's going to be some opera. It's going to be something of a different language that I'm studying. The thing is, you want to divert your way and divert yourself from what's going on, but in a way to where you can clear your head. You don't want to run away from it and try to mask it. The idea here is to try to clear your head and get a peace of mind, to get a breath of fresh air, a moment of clarity. And you have to face it. It's something that you'll have to face, or it's something that you'll continually deal with. And I mean, I remember Rasheed Wallace, man. I'll never forget this, man. I think he was playing for the Blazers, and I want to go out on a limb and say that limb rather, and say he was talking about my Lakers at the time. He was like, the sun even every once in a while the sun is shine on a dog's ass. And what he meant by that is, man, even if you're having bad days, sooner or later, just the law of chance of probabilities, you're gonna have something good happen, and it's easy to mistake that for you coming out of the depression, but that's just a victory, man. So, man, make sure that you pay attention to what is actually what and keep everything in perspective, man. My biggest point that I want to talk about on this seg is, at some point you have to kind of face what you got going on if you ever want to come up with a resolution, man. And that could be half of the battle right there. A lot of times when you're depressed, it takes a lot of energy from you and it takes your will away in some ways. And you got to be able to fight it, man. You got to be able to push through it. And it's very, very important that you pay attention to it. So, the other thing that I offer is an overall lifestyle change. With me, with somebody who's made a drastic change and kind of is more in tune with the world and how the energy flows and whatnot, man, I always tell people, if you want a new life, if you want a new lifestyle, at the bare minimum, it's going to cost you the old one. So that's whether that's you hanging up at the same places every day or hanging out at the same places every day, hanging out with the same people, doing the same redundant things, man. Somewhere along the line, you're going to have to make a drastic change in your life. And, you got to kind of take it upon yourself. And I know it's extremely hard to go through this depression and feel like nobody's there, but you got to take it upon yourself to take some responsibility in your health and your mental well-being, man, and to face it. And that's one of the reasons why I created Medicine Ball, so that there's a place to speak about it, an open forum to just discuss it, to get ideas, to understand that people hear you. So I think that's very important, because ultimately, these things that are chasing you, that are causing you to have a lack of interest in life, that are causing you to feel like nobody's on your side. That may be the case, but hey, this is a Medicine Ball. We want to work out your brain. We want to open up perception and how you look at things. So hopefully I can be of help, of service to somebody, to help them, man. I want you guys to all realize, no matter what you're going through, man, you got this. It is obtainable. You are on your way. And to be honest with you, if you're somebody who deals with any type of illness and whatnot, the fact that you seek help or seek advice or seek some type of information on it to kind of start steering in the first in the right way, that is the first step. So be proud of yourself, man. You know, if you get a victory, take your victory, but you got to be aware, man. And that's what we're going to talk about, man. We're going to talk about how to just kind of be more aware and focus on what's going on in your life and how to make it better. And that's what we're going to talk about here in this next seg coming up, man. So, hey, man, we talked about in the first segue depression, man. And in this seg, we talked about doing something about it, whether it be medical attention from a medical professional, meditation, maybe it's a lifestyle change. Ultimately, it's something that you got to face, man. Pay attention to it. Yo, Medicine Ball with your boy LS3. Thank y'all for rocking with me, man. You could have been anywhere in the world. I appreciate y'all, but we're going to wrap up this second seg. And when we come back in the final seg, we're going to just focus more on awareness and how to kind of pay attention to what's going on with you. So if you do struggle from depression or some type of mental illness, it's something you can jump on immediately and start righting the ship, man. So check this beat. We're going to come back after this beat and talk about, being aware, staying on top of it. And LS3, Medicine Ball, man. We'll be right back. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Welcome back, man. Let that beat rock a little bit. LS3, man. Medicine Ball with your boy LS3 to be exact. If you're in the shape, then at least your brain should be. We focusing on giving your brains a six pack. And we focusing on all things mental health and more. The big D, man. Depression. That's what we've been talking about this episode, and that's what we're gonna wrap it up with, man. Awareness, man. So it's kind of like when you're not doing something that you naturally love to do, or something that you're not naturally into doing, um, it's a sign. If you're a painter and all of a sudden you wake up one day and you don't want to paint, you should know that that's a sign that's a little bit off. So when we're speaking about depression, man, a lot of people suffer in silence. A lot of people suffer in silence. And a lot of people reach out in more ways than just a direct way. And you got to kind of be aware of it. So we want to talk about that, man. The first thing is, let's take this thing serious, man. Everybody is going through their own battle each and every day. And what may be a big problem for them, we may not see as a big problem, but that's where a little bit of empathy needs to come in, man. And you need to take it serious. Um, when you're dealing with depression, a lot of things can be subjective, but it's nothing worse than going through your own thing, which you take deathly serious or deadly serious, and feeling like nobody takes you serious, man. So that's the first thing you need to do. You need to make sure you take everything serious, man. Now, whether you're dealing with yourself or as a friend or with a friend, you need to notice a change of mood. For instance, if your friend is somebody who loves to go out, loves to party, be the life of a party, and then out of nowhere, you see them totally change their mood. Now, granted, and I know this was the fact with me, with the case with me. I purposely stopped doing some of the things that I was doing, As being with someone who deals with the music, I went out a lot. And I just abruptly stopped that. But in my situation, it was me growing and me changing and me trying to find out what's going on in life. If you have a friend, or if you're somebody who's not quite at that stage in your life yet and you still like doing what you do, and all of a sudden you have no hunger for it, pay attention to that, man. It may be time for your revelation, or your awakening per se, or you being more self-aware, man. But always take a notice of the change of mood, whether it be with you or your loved ones. A change of motivation. A change of motivation, man. If somebody's a perky or a motivated person, or even if you have a project that you're just so passionate about and you find it a little bit harder to work on that project, and you maybe and again, the thing that we're looking for here is everybody gets their times in the pit, man, but we're looking for something that's extreme. If it's been a month and that project that you were so passionate about, you can't find yourself paying attention to it anymore and you don't understand why, or you have a friend or a loved one going through it, pay attention to that. Be aware. A lot of this is awareness, man. It's a constant analyzing of your mood, of your mental state, where you're at, how you feel, how you think. It's a constant analysis of what's going on, man. So, um, notice that change of motivation. And just like I said, man, the biggest thing that I think that you should pay attention to is the length of time that you're in these pits, man. I feel for anybody, man. If it's something that lasts a week, or maybe you might have lost a loved one, some mourning and being down and sad is just natural. But if it's something that's going on 2, 3, 4 weeks, a month or so, and maybe something tragic hasn't happened in your life, notice the length of time that you're in those pits. And this could probably quite possibly be the most important thing, because the length of time kind of aligns with your actions on what you're doing to change your situations and your circumstance. So if it's something that you're in a depression for like months upon months and you can't figure it out and whatnot, pay attention to that. And in those situations, it's time to increase your awareness even more. Whether it be something that triggers it, whether it's something that maybe you don't start out depressed in the morning, but as the day goes on, you sink back in. You need to kind of pay attention to all your triggers and what causes you to feel that way, because ultimately, it's a sign that you should probably pay attention to. And just like I've talked about in a previous podcast, the patterns of life and seeing things for what they are and perspective. We just want to change your perspective, man. So if you're somebody who's maybe dealing with a little bit of depression, which is major, something that affects all people. The first thing is, if somebody's willing to reach out and help, and that's something that you haven't tried, accept their help, man. Sometimes just talking to somebody or speaking on it is enough. The most important thing is to be aware. If my friends come to me a couple of days in a row and they're like, hey, what's wrong, even though I may not initially see what's wrong, once I sit down and get quiet, think about it, put everything into perspective, become more aware, I do see that there's some things that you can change. Now, the thing also with the depression and awareness is misery loves company, man. You got to be real careful on what are you using and what's your motivation energy wise. What are you putting your time, your energy, and your effort into? Are you into saying negative things? Are you into being nasty to somebody? Are you into just talking the Eeyore syndrome? I call it, hey, poo, it's nothing going on. Are you just kind of like out of it? Be aware, man, and also be open to help. The thing with depression is, I find personally that it's easy to get into like a grumpy mood, man, and a negative mood, and a mood where you feel like it's you against the world and you don't want to deal with anyone and you're mad at everybody and you're maybe not trusting anybody. That's the worst thing you can do, because it closes off your mind. It closes the way you're able to look at things. It closes your perception, and it's really unhealthy, man. So, what I want to challenge us to do this week, man, be aware. But in this situation, this is an empathy awareness. This is being aware of other people. And this will ultimately open you up to being more empathetic, more sympathetic, able to deal with people better, because you'll be able to read them. Be aware of the people around you. That person who may have said something to you that you didn't like, be aware of them, man. Maybe they're going through something, man. What I always try to remind myself, and that you should always be reminding yourself, is everybody is dealing with their own battle, their own internal struggle. No matter how happy they look on the outside, everybody's dealing with their own battle or their struggle. So I challenge you guys, be a little bit more aware this week. Be aware of your friends, be aware of your loved ones. Pay attention to those that you always go to for advice but never seem to talk about their problems. There are a lot of people that are suffering in silence. Remember that number was 18 million adults? That number's probably a couple of million more, because there's people who suffer in silence. You know, um, I know, for instance, if you're one of the strong ones, man, you're a person who definitely needs to be checked on, man. Your strong friends, they need to be checked on because they often take the brunt and the brash and the problems of everyone else on their shoulder. And once you become the person who's the strong one, quote unquote, man, that's a huge responsibility, man. It can be overwhelming to know that people come and depend on you for things. So I just challenge you guys this week. Let's be aware of other people. Let's be aware of what other people are going to through. Let's pay attention to the signs. If you had a friend and you feel like you and your friends are separating or something, pay attention to that, man. Do something about it. Those of you who may be suffering from depression, be open. If somebody's trying to help you or reach out to you, chances are they may have seen something in you that, has them worried about you. People love you, man, all right? So, and most importantly, man, just operate in love, man. Try to operate in love and try to honestly put yourself in other people's shoes. All right. So that's y'all's goal for this week, man. Be aware of the others around you. Be aware of their situation and have some empathy to that, man. If you are somebody who is dealing with depression, anxiety, bipolar, or any other mental illness, reach out to me personally on Instagram, the real TheRealLS and the number three. On Facebook, you could contact me directly on Facebook, or you could go to the Medicine Ball page on Facebook, man. Follow that, reach out to me. My email, I don't really give out my email, but I'm down to give out my email. So for right now, you guys can email me at mrsky84 at gmail.com, Mr. period Sky84 at gmail.com. If you just want to talk, if you have some ideas about the show, if you want to reach out, if maybe you want to ask my advice on something or ask how I would deal with a certain situation, I am here for you guys, man. That's ultimately what we're here for. I want everybody to always keep your head up and just know no matter how hard it seems, man, you got this. You can do this. We're humans. Things happen every day. And it's not about what necessarily happens to you that could be bad or negative. It's how you react to it, man. You know, head up, shoulders back. I love all of y'all. Thank y'all for rocking with me. We'll catch y'all next week. And remember, this is Medicine Ball with LS3. If you're in shape, your brain should be, all right? Give yourself a six pack. I love y'all and I'm out. Till next time, let's go.